Hi guys, I'm Putri.
I'm Najwa.
I'm Afa. Elena's here.
Have you ever heard of vernacular language? How about standard? No? It's alright. Let me give you a brief introduction of what they are. So a standard language is a language variety that is usually used in public discourse, or in other words, is used in formal occasions. It is also known as language norm.
And for vernacular language, there are different definitions according to one's country. For Malaysians, our vernacular languages is Mandarin and Tamil. And meanwhile, for the Indonesians, their original languages is considered as vernacular as well.
But based on the research we have done, it has proven that the usage of vernacular language has been gradually faded among the teenagers, especially in Indonesia.
Indonesia is known for many things. It is most well known for its variety choices of foods and cuisines, large number of islands and volcanoes. But what the world is clearly not aware about is Indonesia's hidden gem, their language and its uniqueness. To understand the uniqueness about Indonesian language further, we decided to continue researching through reading articles, fetching books from the library that is somewhat related, and interview a few Indonesians.
Kalau ditanya berapa vernacular language di Indonesia itu banyak, karena kita sendiri tuh punya lebih dari 13.000 pulau, dan setiap pulau itu pakai bahasa yang beda-beda. Bahasa daerah pasti banyak, cuman gak banyak orang tahu gitu loh, Kak.
We later found out that vernacular language is actually frequently used in Indonesia, but not their regional one, and this is called as colloquial, or it is more known as bahasa gaul.
In Indonesia, their standard language is Bahasa Indonesia, which is also their official language. They speak their standard language in public and when talking to other people from other groups. This is due to the large amount of languages in their country. Bahasa Indonesia is widely taught in their schools, and it is also spoken by nearly every Indonesian in business, politics, national media, and also education. Most Indonesians speak their vernacular language of their ethnic groups only at home or with people from their groups. According to everyculture.com, Indonesia's languages are not mutually understandable, though some subgroups are similar to one another.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
Kabare? Waras ya? Ada lengkungan di?
Interesting fact, Indonesia is the second country with the most languages. The first country is Papua New Guinea with 832 languages, while the second country dominated by the Indonesia with 731 languages.
As said by Sister Afaf, thanks Afaf. Indonesia is a country of many languages. Indonesia is not only rich in terms of their islands, but it's also rich in terms of their language.
And a few examples of Indonesian languages:
Javanese, Sundanese, Bugis, Toraja, Dayak, Batak, Makassaris, Minangkabau, Lampung.
There's a lot of characteristics that sets Indonesian apart from other countries and languages, and that is how easy it is to understand their grammar, how easy it is to write it, and also how to pronounce it. With the huge amount of languages in Indonesia, you might question what do they use to communicate with each other, and that's when we introduce you Bahasa Gaul.
Bahasa gaul, the social language, was a term coined in the late 1990s where bahasa means language and gaul means social, trendy, or cool. It is predominantly used in everyday conversations, social medias, among public media, and to a certain extent in teen publications and pop culture. Even based on the research, it is shown that 87% of Indonesian used Bahasa Gaul instead of their standard language. Example, jojoba, which means jomblo bahagia.
Elina, what makes a language standard?
Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Language is considered standard when it is written, spoken, thought, and passed down to generations.
So is Bahasa Gaul or vernacular? It's not taught formally, right?
We wanted to know if the students in CFS IIUM knows that in Indonesia has many languages and the fact that Indonesian people cannot understand each other's vernacular language. So, we decided to have an interview session with a few students in CFS IIUM.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So here we have two interviews with us. A few questions about dialects and vernacular language. Now we want to ask a few facts about Indonesia. So first, do you think Indonesia only speak one language?
Yes. Yes, I think yes.
No.
No.
How about you? No, Drew. Do you think they understand each other?
Yes, they understand.
Yes.
Yes, I think they understand their language, each other.
In conclusion, the main difference between Malaysia and Indonesia is that even though we Malaysia have different vernacular languages, we can still understand each other, but for Indonesia, their regional vernacular language isn't understood by other region, and the medium they use to understand each other is by using Bahasa Gaul.
Every languages have their own word formation. In Indonesia, the word formation of their standard language and all the vernacular languages they have are way too different from each other. I will give you an example of the phrase of good night. So, for their standard language, which is Indonesian language, good night is simply selamat malam. However, for their vernacular language such as Javanese and Sundanese, it's not selamat malam anymore. In Javanese, good night is Sugeng Dalu. In Sundanese, good night is Wilujeng Kulon. See the differences? If you do not know better about the languages in Indonesian, you would think that the three phrases that I have said just now are from three different languages and from three different countries.
When a language dies, the knowledge and the ability to understand where the culture came from and who spoke it is threatened because the customs, the teachings, and also the inherited knowledge is no longer transmitted. We as the youth, the leader of the future generation and the world as a whole, we play the biggest role in ensuring that our language, both standard and vernacular, is protected. We as the youth, the leader of the future generation and the world as a whole, we play the biggest role in ensuring that our language, both standard and vernacular, is protected. And the steps are easy. All it takes for us to preserve our language is simply by being curious. Ask your parents, ask your grandparents, your friends, and even your neighbors about their vernacular language and about our vernacular language. It only takes this one step to dive us deeper and deeper into the history of our culture. Not only that, we'd also like to suggest for scholars in Indonesia or Malaysia or anywhere in Asia actually to continue doing research about the specialty and the uniqueness of the Indonesian language, because it's clear that they're very special, but the problem is we can't actually get to the bottom of it. So we hope that by spreading this video, we'd also like to get the attention of scholars to continue doing research about the Indonesian language.
Vernacular language has many importance. One of them is it symbolizes our culture and also our identity. Through this, vernacular language indirectly enables us to learn about our history, which is very important for our society's development.
In a nutshell, it's clear that the reason why teenagers rarely use their vernacular language is because Bahasa Gaul is widely used as the medium of communication for teenagers in Indonesia. To get this in a clearer context, the reason why Bahasa Gaul is used is because Bahasa Gaul is understood by everyone no matter their region or their vernacular language.
If they still insist on using their vernacular language, this may cause language barrier between them and their friends and may affect the effectiveness of their communication.
Now, this is not a bad thing, whereas it can also be seen as something unique and special about Indonesia compared to other countries all around the world. But it is also important to preserve our regional vernacular language as it holds and signifies our culture and history.
So guys, now that we have come to the end, we hope through this video, all of you now can identify what standard and vernacular language is. Not only that, we also hope that each country in this world can emphasize and appreciate their vernacular language more.
Don't let your identity fade, as a people without the knowledge of their past history, origin, and culture is like a tree without roots. Quoted by Marcus Garvey.